Good morning. Welcome to day 8. Kind of a hectic morning, following a hectic night. Went to bed at like 10:30, but then I was woken up at 12:30, and then like the dogs were like, my dog was going nuts, and like my dog's like protective, but whatever. Some shit went down, whatever. Went to bed again finally at like 3 o'clock. So now it's 10. We're at the gym. But I also have to help my father after the gym do work. So here's how it's gonna go down. I have to help him work on his house. Here's how it's gonna go down. I'm gonna do 15 minutes incline walking. I'm gonna hit legs and then do 15 minutes incline walking post legs. So I'm gonna kind of try to wrap this whole fucking cardio and the lift into one. Not like my morning cardio and then my night lift, because I gotta help my dad on his house later. But yeah. Sometimes life just, you know, you try to do good by yourself, but motherfuckers will keep you awake. Siblings sometimes are not the most considerate, but they're siblings, so we must deal with this and keep pushing forward. Yeah, now let's go hit some fucking legs. I'm back from the gym. I have breakfast cooking right now. I forgot to do like a little like check-in after the gym, but I ended up doing 15 minutes cardio, lying hamstring curls, squats, single leg press, leg extensions, calf raises, and then I was gonna do 15 more minutes incline walking, but I did 30 instead. So yeah, but breakfast is cooking right now, so I'm hyped on that. I'll let you know the calories and show you all that in a second here. This is breakfast: bacon, egg, and cheese with a tomato again. I opted for the English muffins instead of the bagel because these two English muffins are actually, for the same carb, are 40 calories less. So that gave me one more piece of bacon. The bacon's only 30 calories per piece, so I still save 10 calories. But the total is 545 calories, 56 carb, and 38 protein. So about to destroy this. These look pretty fucking decent. We got cheese. Well, we got English muffin, egg, piece of cheese, which one piece of cheese I split in half, so on each one. Big fat tomato with salt, love tomatoes. And then 3 pieces of bacon on each side. And then fucking, yeah, with some hot sauce. But let's go. Just having this bowl of grapes and oranges here while I read. The calories on it is 266, carbs 68, and protein 3 grams. It's like 5:20 right now. I'll probably have dinner in about like 2 hours or so. Just gonna keep hitting this book. It's a very good book so far. It hasn't like gotten into anything super juicy yet. I shouldn't say nothing too crazy happened, because this first night a bunch of artillery hit and did some damage. I like these type of books, especially, you know, this might sound weird, but like especially when they're not like super censored. When the author's like very thorough with the descriptions of what was going on and not like sugarcoating things. It just gives you a real sense of reality of like how it actually was, as best as you can understand it without actually being there. And sometimes like literature does a better job than movies with being descriptive. Movies, they can only like, you know, CGI or prop so much, but with word you could really describe it and really like build an image in your head of exactly, I mean, you don't know exactly what the scene looked like, but you could create your own scene in your head with the words that were being written and the words that you're reading. I'll show you one of my favorite war books. This book right here, The Odyssey of Echo Company. I read this during COVID, my senior year of high school, and I read it in like 4 sittings. It was like in the span of like 2 or 3 days. It's 290 pages. It's fucking like super good. I mean, of course, if you're into war books and just like, you know, memoirs and biographies and that, but this is it like, you know, it gets really descriptive about the Tet Offensive, which is super interesting. There's a part of the book where like, so the main character is Doug Stanton, who he's the author of the book, but he talks about running through a field, through a rice paddy, and getting shot at a bunch, and he's like going to take over this bunker that the enemy are in. And as he's running through the field, he gets shot in the head, but it like penetrates his helmet and kind of like spins around. Like when he took his helmet off, he had burn marks around his head from the bullet, but it never like actually went inside of his head. It just went inside of his helmet and must have slowed down that much or redirected that much or something, but it spun around his whole helmet and left the whole burn mark around his head. And like in the same, and then he gets back up, starts running, gets blown up, keeps running. Then he gets into like hand-to-hand combat with the enemy, kills one of them, and then another explosion happens. He gets knocked over to his side, and then his men push forward, and the enemy start to run, and an enemy stands over him. And I can't fully remember, but either like the gun clicked or the dude didn't shoot. And then like 50 years later, he goes back to that village, that little area where it happened in Vietnam, 50 years later, and he sees a dude that comes out of like a little hooch smoking a cigarette, and the guy like was talking to him, and then he was talking to him, and the guy can't speak English, but this guy explained that back in the day he fought in this exact area, and he remembers talking about like he called him like the ghost soldier or something like that. Pretty much saying like how like when they left that battle, all the dudes that survived were like, man, you see that one dude, like we just couldn't kill him. We were sending everything at him and we couldn't kill him. And then I'll show you. There's like a picture of them, I think, at the end of the book. So yeah, if you like war books, The Odyssey of Echo Company. And tied for first place. Now this, I'll tell you how quick I read this one. I don't know. I had a piece of paper that told me how quick I read this one. But this again, I think 3 days I read this book. I'm not even exaggerating, and it's 358 pages. The Liberator. That's super good. But it talks about this soldier Felix Sparks, who in World War II he saw 500 days worth of combat, and it like just describes his experience. He was like of the first to arrive in Sicily, and then from Sicily he fought all the way into Germany and into Dachau, and then he was like the first men to go there to liberate Dachau. But it's just insane. Seeing 500 days of combat in World War II is crazy. It's nuts. And I used to not really love like reading about World War II and that. I was like way more interested in Vietnam, but this book, same thing with this other book, Iwo Jima. Now that's good too. That I read in 2 days, and that's like 350 pages too. That was, oh my god, I'll get that too. I'll show you that. This book, Iwo Jima, another hitter. God, I think I read this in 2 days. I swear to God. Iwo Jima's 340. It's like 340 pages. But what's interesting, what's interesting about Iwo Jima is it's so like The Liberator about one guy. The Odyssey Echo Company is about one guy's experience. Storm of Steel is about to be about one guy's experience. Iwo Jima was like it's like a dozen people's experiences, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, and they interview a bunch of different people and like different branches of the military and anybody that was there, right? And so you have like Marines, you have Navy, you have Air Force, you know, and it's all their different experiences. So it's pretty easy to rip through because it's like you're starting a new book every couple pages or whatever, you know. Every new person feels like it's a new book, but it's all about Iwo Jima, and that's super interesting as well. So yeah, if you're into reading about war, those are my recommendations. They're very, very good, but of course you got to be interested. These two, a little bit of a warning with these two. They're pretty fucking graphic. Like they you know, they go into like immense detail of what like was happening and what men saw, and the men they interviewed went into immense detail. So I mean, if you're like not really into that, I would maybe not read it, but even if you aren't into it, I think you should read it and just understand that that happened and that was life. Don't just ignore it. But now, back to this one. Tonight's dinner, New York strip steak. This is like a steakhouse onion cheese. It's 2 ounces. It's 200 calories right there. Altogether, this is 870 calories and 88 grams of protein. Something light, because I'm gonna. It's something light because I'm gonna have some popcorn with Survivor. That concludes day 8 of the cut. See you guys tomorrow.